Okay, so we're here with Paul Reed Smith outside of London, in the middle of nowhere. We're looking for the ghosts, haven't found them yet.
Look, the reason we're making a joke about ghosts is there's some very old castles we've been doing these events in.
You had an anniversary last year, this year, I don't know exactly, 30 years of PRS.
Yes, my 60th birthday.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Is that good or bad?
That's good.
Did you just welcome me to dying sooner?
Welcome in the club.
Oh, you're 60?
61.
I didn't know. So we were in diapers together.
Yeah.
That's great. An American and a German in diapers together. What a scene. Go on.
So what has changed in the 30 years you did
Everything.
Paul Reed Smith?
All of it.
All of it.
The basic design's still there. What we made in 1985, you can still see in what we make today. But the lay of the land has changed, the internet has changed, advertising's changed, as you know.
Yeah.
The way people communicate. I'm seeing Periscope have more impact than an ad. You know, John Mayer taught me about that, which I thought was fascinating. He said, you got to get into this Periscope thing. Mm-hmm. And first time I did it, I didn't know what all the hearts were. I didn't know all the comments were. They got me, and one of the things they asked me if I was going to bleach some part of my body, and I read it like I was just repeating the questions. And you should, I mean, I was dying. They got me to repeat the wrong thing. Good. It's changed a lot. What has not changed is the fundamental core of guitar making and instrument making is the same.
I heard your speech today when you welcomed all the dealers.
I meant it. And
you said you're much more happy with the guitars than ever.
Yeah.
Maybe repeat it for our readers.
Right, so what I said was, it used to be that people thought that we made the most beautiful guitars, although Carlos Santana was playing the guitar because he liked the way it sounded. Mark Tremonti liked the guitar because of the way it sounded, exactly. Right? David Grissom was playing the guitar because of the way it sounded. But our reputation was more about how they looked. Now, you can go into a store and take any PRS down and any other brand down and do a shootout through the amp, and we're doing really, really well in the sound department. You buy a guitar and you like the way it looks. If you don't like the way it sounds, the way it feels long term, you're going to sell it. That's just the way it is. And we are getting more and better and better and better at the way they sound. It used to be that Marshall amplifiers, 50s, they didn't have enough gain, and so you would have to make a pretty loud guitar to drive the amp. But now with these high gain amps and pedal boards, gain's not an issue anymore. So the people are liking real clear pickups to drive their pedal boards. Here's one thing that's changed. People think their pedal boards are their guitars. I have seen people who are more in love with their pedal board than their guitar. The guitar's a throwaway, the amp in the back's a throwaway, but their pedal board is God. I saw a guy come to a gig and he was holding his pedal board like it was God. And I went, oh no. Oh no, they're using the guitar as a synthesizer controller. They're not using it as a guitar anymore. And I like pedals. I buy pedals. I bought a pedal while I was on this trip, and I collect them. But when I play a gig, I'm plugging straight in. You know how many people come up to me afterwards and go, where's the pedal that makes it sound like that? I'm going to plug straight in and their jaws are on the floor. Yeah. It's old school.
Yeah, but it's good.
It's good.
It's good. Yeah, world has changed, as you said.
The world has changed.
And I remember 20 years ago they had all the rec stuff and and now they have the pedals. I don't know what's going to be in 5 or 10 years, but I think
it's moving around.
Yep.
You know, what hasn't changed, fundamental guitar making, that you have this device that's turning force into sound, hasn't changed. Fundamentals of love between human beings hasn't changed. The fact that people aren't going to a studio in a room about this size and playing the music live and they're sending files to each other, that's changed. Although it shouldn't be that way. I mean, this whole idea that you could do as well on a laptop as you can do in a professional recording studio, it's a kind of interesting statement. It's starting to be more and more true, but when it started, it was not true. Yeah. I mean, you used to go into a store and you'd buy a U87 Neumann. Now they sell you a guitar, a microphone for $500, and they say it's just as good. No, it's not.
Yeah. And then they sell you the plug-in where you can change the sound of the microphone. Yeah. I know. But another thing which has changed with you. I remember in the beginning you had pickups on guitars. In these days you have so many different pickups, and I know that you're in love with creating pickups and changing them.
I used to have a lot of hair too.
I remember
things
that
have changed. Yeah, things have changed.
So are you still working on pickups?
Oh, every day. So we came out with 85 15s. We came out with 58 15s. 5708s still sound wonderful. Now we've got something called 5815 LTs, which are on these 594 guitars. We've figured out how to make a humbucking sound like a single coil, which is fascinating. You want to hear that story? That's a good
Yes.
one. So, if you have a Strat pickup, it sounds like a single coil. If you put the middle and the treble on, and one's north and one's south, and you wire one out of phase, it still sounds like the in-between position, but it's in humbucking and there's no noise. But it's still sounding a single coil.
Right.
Put two jazz bass pickups on, it's in humbucking, but it still sounds like a single coil. Put two P bass pickups together in humbucking, it still sounds like a single coil.
Right.
Put a humbucking in single coil, sounds like an anemic humbucker.
Right.
Therefore, it's got nothing to do with single coil and humbucking. It's got to do with something else, and we found the something else.
Yeah.
And we've been able to make pickups that sound like single coils, and it's wonderful. We've been making humbuckings that sound like single coils, and those what the 408 narrow ones are.
Wow.
So we're slowly getting into that whole technology that teaches us how to make things sound more pure and more single coil-like, even if they're canceling the hum.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's very good.
Anxious to see it and to hear it.
Bingo, gotcha.
So,
we take 80% of our information with our eyes. In the end, it's how it sounds. You're right. So go on.
So we have some more minutes. Not.
You don't have to
enough.
look at your watch. It's you
I do.
and me.
I do.
If they want to go longer, they'll go longer. Don't worry about it. There's enough. There's enough digital storage.
In earlier days, they would run out of tape.
Well, they're not going to run out of tape. So go on.
So what do you think? What will happen with the guitar in the next years?
I don't know.
You don't know.
But all indications is that the pedal board fury has settled down, and people are back to buying guitars. All indications are is that people are getting interested in guitars again. All indications is that everybody's had affairs with all these brands, and they've gone back to their wives. I think I didn't mean that in any bad marriage way. I'm just saying, but you know, you've got all these new brands in America, and everybody bought them all. And then long term, if their customers are happy or not happy with them, is the feedback loop. That takes a couple of years to go through, right? Right now, we're doing really well. We're doing really well. All the dealers are here, and they're buying guitars, and they can sell them. They're not just buying them to buy them. They're buying them because they can sell them. Their customers. Our return rate's really low. It's good.
Do you worry about the supply of wood?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Zero.
Because everybody's talking about. But I've seen the guitars up there and the beauties.
Well,
every one is a beauty.
The definition of an expert is somebody in a very complicated area that solves complicated problems over and over and over again. That's an expert, okay? Buying wood needs an expert. We've got a few of them working for us, and they're really good at it. The forests in America are in better condition than they were 100 years ago.
Wow.
So when all the settlers went to America, one of the ways they made the money is they cut all the trees down 3 times. You know, that's why the big trees are only left in Sequoia National Park and this, that, and the other. So the forests are in pretty good shape. They're not buying mahogany from South America like they were. All the architectural doorwork stuff has stopped. Ever since the rosewood scare, the rosewood supplies are in really good shape. Look, in India, they have these things called monsoons, and they blow trees down, and when the trees blow down, the government collects them and sells the trees because they don't want to waste these what are called blowdowns. That's fine. I mean, God tore the tree out of the ground, and you know, the Indian government auctions them off so that it's not wasted. It seems fine to me.
Sounds good to me.
There's some things that have happened that haven't been fine, but we're very careful about buying sustainable woods, and we're very careful about making sure that everything's okay.
Brings me to acoustic guitars, which is completely different wood.
Spruce is different, but the mahoganies and the rosewoods and the ebonies
it's the same.
are
Yeah,
the same.
But you have to have good spruce.
They sell good spruce at Home Depot. 2x4s are made out of Adirondack red spruce.
Don't tell me you buy it at Home Depot.
No, because it's too narrow, but you could.
Yeah.
You could make a hell of a guitar at Home Depot. I'm sorry,
Really?
Home Depot, for those of you who don't know, is an American store that sells stuff for your home. Yeah, I'm sorry, I want to have a contest between all the guitar makers where we go into Home Depot and see who can make the best guitar. Oh, what fun would that be? There's no reason that you can't make a really good instrument out of available materials. I mean, a Telecaster switch came off a ham radio.
Yeah.
I mean, it was available material, right? There's a saying in America, the physics on Dumble's bench is the same as the physics on my bench. Mm-hmm. In other words, if he can make a good amp and he has an understanding, I can make a good amp. Yeah. Same thing. How old was Hendrix's guitar when he played the Wind Cries Mary? A couple of weeks, a year old?
A couple of weeks old, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest vintage guitar tones of all time. Mm-hmm. And the amp was brand new too. Get over it. I mean, you know.
And also the effects were brand new.
They're all brand new, yeah.
That's right.
I don't buy it that because it's old, that's what it was. I think that these instruments were pretty close to what they are now when they were made.
Mm-hmm. So where are you going with the acoustic line? Which direction? Expand it? Just go on?
It's
just
pretty
keep
even
on?
right now.
Yeah.
We're selling a lot of SEs. We actually had a run on the private stock acoustics in Europe this month. It's going along. It's not the production of the electric guitars, but I wish it was, but it's not. And getting the market to accept something takes a long time.
Yeah, 30 years. It
takes a long time. We're just hitting our stride with the electric guitars now. I mean, we had a run when everybody was buying dual rectifiers and PRSs in those metal bands. That was a hell of a run.
Yeah, but also this has changed. It's different now.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you don't even see a dual or triple rec anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I don't even know where they all went.
Tell me where all the Marshall cabinets went. They have built millions.
Millions of them.
Millions, and they're all...
And they don't fit under a bed.
Yep. And you can't keep rabbits in it. It doesn't work. Just a joke. Amplifiers, last question. You're still busy with amplifiers. You're changing them a lot.
Yeah. I love making amps.
I know. And you change them all the time. And it's getting better and better and better.
The Archons are going well.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new thing coming that I'm excited about. We're making a lot more combos. Bernie Marsden, the great guitar player from England, we were doing clinics and he turned around and plugged into an amp and sounded just as record ready as it could possibly have been. He goes, "That's the amp." He goes, "It's fine, don't touch it."
Really?
Yeah. Last day the Allman Brothers played at the Beacon Theater, there were like 7 or 8 PRS amps on stage. I should have taken a picture. It was the coolest thing. I can't believe I didn't take a shot.
You did do it?
It was so cool. I mean, there were Paisley amps all over the stage, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time's over. We could talk for hours, I know. That's what we always do.
You're being very German.